this Telecaster I'm using is one of these American Deluxe Telecasters. And this is something I bought, I don't know how many years ago. I wanted to have a quiet telly, and I know it's blasphemy that people think, well, every real Telecaster player has to have regular single-coil pickups. And I certainly have Telecasters with regular single-coil pickups, but sometimes when you're traveling and you're in places where, you know, there's circumstances where you can't get rid of that 60-cycle hum, you know, everywhere you're looking, there's no escape from it. Oh, thank you. Beverages, yes. Duh. If I may be so bold. Anyway, so I had this guitar and I had those Sumerian Cobalt pickups in it, which I liked just fine. They were, I used them quite a bit. It had this little S1 switch on it, and it added a little bit of beef to it. And I still love that guitar. As a matter of fact, Fender has redesigned a little bit the American Deluxe, and they've got these new, like, third generation now, noiseless pickups, and they sound fabulous. And they've got that little S1 switch, which adds this little resistor or capacitor in it that beefs up the tone, almost to like a P90. So I use that quite a bit for slide stuff. This guitar years ago, this German guy made these pickups for me, and I was in a music store and I saw this Telecaster and I saw these pickups and I thought they were Joe Barton pickups, you know, like Danny Gatton used and Bruce Springsteen uses and all kinds of different folk, because they sound very much like Tele pickups, but they're totally quiet. And the guy said, no, there's this guy named Ray Gerald who made those pickups. And I checked them out, and the reason why I liked them is because there's it's single coil, it's noise canceling in the single coil position. Just change strings one of these days. So that's the single coil position, but it's still noise canceling. And then on this little toggle switch, I hit that sucker, and it becomes a humbucker. But it beefs it up, but not real nasally. You know what I mean? It just makes it a little more meaty. And so as a result, I saw the pickups and I wanted them, but they were a little expensive. And then I was at Music Messe in Frankfurt, and this guy came up to me and said, I understand you like my pickups. And he put them in for free. So that's always good. It's like people ask me, what are your favorite kind of guitar strings? And I always say, free ones. You know what I'm saying? It's just the nature of the beast. So on this particular guitar, these pickups have worked great, and it's nice when I come over to Europe, and tomorrow night we're playing in Germany in some place, in some little club, and I never know what the wiring is going to be like. So an American Deluxe Tele kind of covers all the bases, because then you know it's not going to be all noisy and whatnot. So there you have it. Let me do one more thing here. I've been playing this. I've got a fuzz pedal up here as well, and I always like to do a little thing on the difference between overdrive and fuzz. A lot of people, modern ears for some reason, are not used to the sound of a fuzz. Back in the 60s and early 70s, that's all people had for their distortion was the fuzz pedal. And then along came the Tube Screamer and the Full Tone this and the Gristle King that and all that kind of stuff. But back in the day, you know, Hendrix, you know, Jeff Beck, all those guys, they used fuzz pedals in order to get their overdrive. And one of the guys that still to this day favors a fuzz over an overdrive is Eric Johnson. Everyone goes, how does Eric Johnson get that tone? Well, you put an old Dallas Arbiter fuzz bass, you go into that beast and go into a large amplifier, which we can't name, and all of a sudden it sounds like that. Of course, Eric's a brilliant player, and that helps a little bit as well. But the character of his overdrive is the fact that he's using a fuzz pedal. So I've got a little fuzz up here. Here, as soon as I hear that thing, it just goes, the bottom just gets massive, and I feel like I've got to poop a little. But it's massive and destructive to begin with. What's nice about it is if I turn the volume down on the guitar, it gets... Then if I turn the volume up on the guitar... It's awesome. So I like to use fuzz sometimes in addition to using the overdrive because it gives you that kind of more organic. I'm using right now is actually, I'm using this Greek guy. Again, another free item. That's what's great. You travel in Europe, people give you shit. So I was in Sweden and I met this Greek guy who had got a hold of me on the internet and said, I'm going to be in Sweden when you're there. I'd like you to try my pedal. And I said, excellent. And so he brought me this pedal, and the guy's name is Jam, J-A-M, and his pedals are awesome. And I've got all these different fuzzes. I like his quite a bit because it seems that the notes seem to bloom a little bit more. They actually, they start to compress a little bit and take off.